One of the questions I get asked most about when I'm doing employee workplace trainings and really talking about neurodiversity and the positive impacts it has within workplaces is inevitably from parents talking about their children and asking kind of next steps. So I have some notes here today because I don't generally print off my notes, but I am because I want to make sure that I hit all the points. So I always tell parents, no one will fight harder for your child than you will. And do not wait for somebody like a teacher or a school psychologist or anybody to kind of start that conversation. You're going to have to be proactive. If in your gut you're questioning if that child is struggling because of a learning difference, be proactive and start the process as early as possible. Generally speaking, a pediatrician or a therapist or a school psychologist, any one of those can start the process and recommend an evaluation. So that's a good starting spot. Schools can also do evaluations, although I will say that generally a neuropsychologist specialized in whatever age range of child that you have or an adult is the best place to start and will most likely provide you the most thorough of reports and actually assessments. I also recommend that you don't this is just a term I use, but lead the witness. So when you're going in for the evaluation itself, don't say, I want him to be tested or her to be tested for dyslexia and leave it at that. Just explain your concerns and say, I think that there's some challenges going on at school and explain what you're seeing, but then let them test for everything. One of the things that I wish I would have done differently with my daughter was that I said that I think she might have dyslexia, but they didn't test for everything else right away. So I went in for one thing and they tested for it. They did their job, but at the end of the day, I had to have her tested 3 different times by a neuropsychologist that was child specific, and he and their team really tested for everything, and we found out she's got dyscalculia, she's got ADHD, she does have dyslexia, and she was showing signs of anxiety. So there was so much more going on by that point. And I personally feel like I delayed her getting all of the support she needed in time and as quickly as possible because I kind of went down a specific road. And I wasn't wrong. I just didn't know all of it because that's not my specialty. So, and also just a kind of a quick point here, neurodivergent conditions don't always stand by themselves. Many, many times they coexist with other neurodivergent conditions. So if you suspect one, there's likely something else hiding in the background as well. Once you have the official diagnosis, make sure you work with the school team to get the right supports in place, whether that's an IEP, which is an individualized education plan, or a 504, which will provide accommodations. A 504 and those accommodations can also be included in the IEP plan. So if possible, I always recommend trying to get the IEP so that they get additional education in addition to the accommodations like extra time or somebody reading the test questions out loud. Quick side note, my daughter actually really struggled on her gym test. And we were kind of joking about it at first. And then luckily her gym teacher just took her aside and read her the questions and she got them all right. So just those little things. I know it doesn't seem like you think you might need an accommodation in a gym class, but when you have written tests in 8th grade about the different rules on a sport, whatever game they're learning about, it was important and it really did affect her grade. And I'm thankful that the gym teacher took a look at her 504 and IEP and made that accommodation without me even having to ask. So super important that you get the child the right supports. Also along that line, if you're not getting the accommodations and support you think that your child deserves, have an advocate there with you during those meetings. Even if you think it's going to go well, I would still recommend finding someone in your area, and I can help with assisting you in that process if needed. But make sure that you have somebody there. It can be a super emotional time for a parent and you want the best for your child. It can also be really intimidating, and schools are really good at using legal jargon and all the things to intimidate parents so that they don't have to provide those resources, because honestly, there are a lot of children that need resources and they don't have the resources to support every child, unfortunately. That's not your concern. Your concern is getting the right support for your child, and having an advocate there that knows the law and is not emotionally tied to your child is really important. Another really important thing is to make sure that you as a parent have that child in some type of activity that really plays to their strengths. So whether it's something along the lines of sports or the arts or music, or even them creating their own little side business and side hustle in the afternoons or evenings, can be so important. They need something that they know they can excel at and they're doing well and really thriving in outside of school, because school will be a struggle. It's just the way it is. But that will really help. And that kind of leads me to my final point. Our main goal with children is to get them through the school process with their self-confidence intact. That is honestly the main goal. It doesn't matter, if they get A's and B's or B's and C's or whatever it is. We need to have their self-confidence intact at the end of their schooling so they can do great things in the world and know that they're capable and really play to their strengths. But if they don't have that self-confidence at the end of it, it's going to be really hard for them to take that next journey outside of their school career. Okay, I hope this helps. I might do an additional video with an actual school advocate, just so you can kind of ask her questions. So I'm getting that set up right now, more to come on that. But I hope this information was helpful. Please reach out in the comments or just directly to me at neurosity.com, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have.